Today, I'm taking you guys out to the airport and showing you some owner maintenance items that you can legally do on your own airplane. We're gonna go change the vacuum pump, bleed the brakes, and a couple other minor things on the Piper Arrow while we're out there getting it ready for sale. I had such a good time last weekend meeting you guys out at the Huntington Beach Air Show. It was insane. I probably met 120 of you guys. It was awesome. Gave away a ton of stuff out there, and keeping with the theme of that, let's do HB Air Show discount code, 15% off anything in the store. Black flight bags are still sold out. Shopgeardown.com, HB Air Show for 15% off anything in there. And let's just get out to the airport. All right guys, today we're gonna go through the very painful process of replacing the vacuum pump on the Piper Arrow using brand new pump and this special tool here. This is probably my least favorite job to do on any piston engine aircraft, but it's a pain in the ass, so let's just get into it. As we're going over this in the edit, you're going to notice a couple of voiceovers here in the beginning, and the reason for that is there's a lot of big jet noise in the background, number one, and number two, there's a lot of cussing. I cuss a lot. Slice my fingers up pretty good doing this job, but anyways, just bear with a couple little voiceovers here in the beginning, and we get back to normal style video here shortly. The first order of business is to remove the tach generator cable. It's in a very tight spot. Normally it's meant to be put on by just your thumb and forefinger and twist it on. But in the area where it's located, I've found over the years, the best way to do this is to struggle with a pair of needle nose vice grips with clean grooves on them, clean teeth. After struggling with the vice grips, finally, victory is mine. I've got it off. Now that this cable is released and out of the way, it's time to attack the hidden nuts. In order to get to the little nuts that are squeezed between the accessory housing and the vacuum pump itself, there's a combination of tools we're going to use. It's going to be this special Rapco wrench, which you can get from Aircraft Spruce, a magnet, a magnetized screwdriver, bits of tape, and all the other stuff. But this is truly the big struggle of this job. It is insanely difficult, very easy to drop little itty bitty nuts, bolts, and washers down into the engine, which you guys are gonna see coming up here. Very hard to do. One of the most difficult parts of this job is maneuvering in this tight space. The nuts are jammed up against the vacuum pump there, meaning you have to back them off, pull the vacuum pump, and then take them off all the way, and you're inevitably going to drop nuts and washers down into the engine cowling, and it is a pain. Watch me struggle. Got the old one out. Now it's time to try to put the new one in without dropping any nuts or bolts. I was able to save every single one, didn't drop any, they're all right here, but we got to figure out how we're gonna do this without losing stuff into the abyss of the engine. So you guys will see here on this fitting that somebody put pipe tape or pipe glue on it. You're not supposed to do that on these, and that's why that was in there. It's so hard to get out. But yeah, don't ever do that. That's bad, bad, bad. All right, now I just want you to see how tight of a spot I'm working in right here. I don't even know if the camera will focus on this, but I can't even get my fingertip in there. And when you seat this guy, there's no room. So you have to have the unit partially backed off to get it started, and then gradually tighten it, working in a tight little spot like down here where you can't get access. I'll show you guys the most hard one out of all of them is this guy down here, right in here somewhere. There it is. This is impossible. It's a pain in the ass. I truly hate doing these. And I've already dropped 2 star washers, which are lost in the abyss somewhere. So In aviation maintenance, if you drop a part or a tool, you cannot complete the job until that part or tool is found, no matter how small it is, because a little washer I dropped could get wedged in between a linkage for a landing gear or something like that, and the next thing you know, you go to put the gear up or down, next thing you know, they won't work. So the hunt is now on to find the 2 missing star washers. Now, what I've found over the years when you're looking for stuff like this, I like to break the engine bay down by components and then quadrants. So I'll search near the magnetos, then whatever's underneath the magneto, in this case fuel controller, etc., etc. I go segment by segment, kind of like almost clockwise around the engine compartment looking for stuff. But you can see it is not easy. Alright, there you have it. We found it right there. Last 3 pieces in my hand. And now I gotta figure out how to get this last tiny POS washer, lock washer, and nut on. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys see down there. We've got a washer and a log washer on. If I move this vacuum pump ever so slightly, they will fall and we will have to start searching for them again. Now I somehow have to figure out how to fit this nut and my 2 fat fingers down in that little area without knocking those things off. Now this is the little trick I use that may help some of you that are doing this. I like to take a rubber glove and tie it around the input flange for this vacuum pump, and it kind of holds the vacuum pump up and out of the way at an angle exactly where I want it, where it's putting just a little bit of tension on that, so I have a little bit more room to get that nut, that bottom left nut on there. We'll see if this holds up. Fingers crossed. Alright, I think this is gonna work. I just gotta get a solid piece of tape. Here I'm using the Rapco specialty wrench to just try to get the first quarter of a thread started on that stud, and then I can kind of rotate it around with the tip of this magnetic screwdriver, a big flathead screwdriver. But unfortunately right now the magnetic tip of the screwdriver is screwing me because it's pulling the washers off as I try to tighten the nut with it. Bro, I swear I almost had it. I almost had it. It's crazy. 7 minutes of that. But we got the nut started. Let's take a look. That nut is started down there. Now I gotta tighten her up. All right guys, so we're in the final push here. Retightening this bad boy. That's our tack generator lead, and now I'll use this special bad boy, this Rapco, to tighten up these bolts. And we'll connect the hose and we're all set. Nice and easy. So I like to get them all as tight as I can by hand first, just to make my life with the awkward wrench easier. Now this one down here, what I like to do is I'll take a screwdriver. I hope you guys can see down there. Let's see if I can get you zoomed in. And I'll walk it on. You guys see it spinning? I'll get it as tight as I can with the screwdriver first. That looks good. Torque everything to spec, and that's job done. All right guys, there you have it. Our new vacuum pump is in. Easy work. What do we got? These are all the tools it takes to put the sucker in. So that's it. Flashlight, curved needle nose, needle vise, Phillips screwdriver, magnet, and the most important tool, the Rapco specialty wrench. These are only like 30 or 40 bucks. If you own an airplane that still has a vacuum pump, 100% recommend you get one of those. But that's it. Showed you guys a nice, quick, easy video on how to change the vacuum pump on a Piper Arrow. Of course, all this is done in accordance with AC 4313, 1A, 1B, and the Piper aircraft maintenance manual, which I have on the laptop right back there. I've also done this a million times. So, although I do like using the laptop PDF style of maintenance manuals for all this stuff, I do have paper copies of maintenance manuals for every aircraft I own. The citation is insane. Those maintenance manuals take a full storage tub. All right, guys, out of this little episode of basic aircraft maintenance, we have to bleed the brakes on the Piper Arrow. I had to rebuild the brake calipers on there, and if you have a Piper that has toe brakes and a handbrake, they're a pain in the ass to bleed. If you've ever done this, you already know. Conventional thought will make you think that you need this expensive kit right here from ATS Tool Supply. It's a pressure bleeder to bleed the brakes on a Piper. That tool works really, really well on stuff like Cessnas that don't have the handbrake thing. Piper doesn't really work, but I'm gonna show you guys how you can get it done for like 10 bucks, 15 bucks. It's super easy. So we're just gonna get a piece of, this is 3/16 inner diameter hose, a motorcycle. This is a check valve here. You see the little arrow on it. This little piece is for bleeding brakes on a motorcycle. Comes with 2 little pieces of hose. It's about $9 on Amazon. And that's literally all you need to do this job. It's really simple. You need that and about a half gallon to a gallon of 5606 because you're gonna waste a lot of fluid in this. But essentially we're gonna top off the reservoir, get in the plane, pump the brakes. And the way I have this tubing routed, I have it routed up across the glare shield. So I can see when the bubbles start coming out. So I'm gonna top this reservoir off and we're gonna get into this because I don't have all day to sit in here, but show you guys how to bleed the brakes on a Piper product. All right, so I'm gonna fill up the reservoir here. I use one of these fancy little doodads. I've got 1 pint in this cup. I got my funnel here. I'm gonna top this sucker off and always make sure you have a rag. This stuff is disgusting. I hate 5606. I don't know why somebody hasn't invented something better yet that doesn't dry out and get all sticky. I'm gonna get this guy out, hopefully not make a massive mess or get it on my hands. As you guys know, 5606, just when it starts to dry, it gets super sticky. Got the handy dandy little drip pan down there. All right, hose in reservoir, rag underneath. We are gonna get to pumping. Now, some of you will say, okay, the bleeder's at the bottom and bleeding bottom up is not the correct way to do this, but I've found in my many, many years of doing this that bleeding from the bottom up versus top down on Piper Arrows with the bleeder valve on the bottom works just fine every time. I don't know if it's because 5606 is so viscous or what the deal is, but it works. Alternately, if you do this and you still find you kind of have a soft brake feel, you can do a top-down bleed procedure first, which is a pressure bleed through the brake fluid reservoir, and then do a bottom-up after the fact, which sometimes you'll have to do because just the way the brake system on this plane is with the handbrake versus the toe brakes and their inlets, they're opposite. So now I'm just going to sit in here and pump the hell out of this handbrake forever. This is not a fast process. Going to be doing this for a long time. All right, you guys can see that 5606 slowly coming up the line here. Look at it go. Now it can't go backwards because we have that check line, remember that. So we're gonna keep pumping this for a while until we don't see any more bubbles come out. And we're gonna keep doing this until we don't see any more bubbles coming out of there. See the bubbles going by? And I I opted to flip the script up a little bit here. As you guys see down there, you see the neck of a bottle. I put a drain bottle up there for us to pump into. This takes a while though, you just gotta be patient. Maybe 10 minutes aside or so. Okay, now you can see we're at the point. There's one last little tiny bilbo coming up that line. I don't even know if you guys are able to see it, but it's going by right there. From both pumps. So now, that means we're properly bled on this side, so we're gonna go down. We're gonna tighten our screw, or the bleed nut on the other side with that little wrench, and we're done with the side. And we do the other. All right, once I'm done with one side, I like to go ahead and just tape both ends of the hose up, because we're probably gonna come back and bleed again, but this at least keeps me from having to pump that whole line again to see when the fluid starts. You guys can see this side came up much quicker, but I think we might have a leak down at the bottom because you see the fluid's moving backward. All right, no leak, just a little bit of settling, and we're just gonna keep pumping. I know it's hard for you guys to see, but there's lots of little teeny tiny bubbles going by, and we're gonna keep going until they're all gone. All right, there it is. Nice hard pedals. Everything's good. Very happy. Nice and easy. Awesome day. This plane is ready. Should be listed and live next week. Let's turn this sucker on. Well, look at that. She's ready. Lights work. Every light on every display works. It's time to get this girl a new home. Alright guys, I just noticed something on this plane which I've seen, but I haven't really looked at it that hard to... I've noticed it, but I haven't noticed it, if you get what I'm saying. But the engine baffling on these airplanes are air-cooled, obviously. These are very, very important. This silicone here is very important. You see this is trashed. So I'm gonna have to replace all this. So what happens is, as you're flying through the air comes in, the induction scoops in the front of the plane, up over in this area, and it has to get forced in, under the cowl, and down, across the cylinders, and out through the bottom of the cowling, out the bottom of the airplane. That forced air pressing down over these cylinders is what keeps them cool. When these are all cracked and torn, and you can notice even a hole this big or a crack this big in your silicone, in your seals, it can drastically affect engine and engine oil temperatures. On this airplane, not oil temperature so much because the air cooler is remote. Well, actually, it would affect air cooler on this airplane because the air cooler is directly fed by this line down here, which is right next to where this massive leak is. So that could lead to this engine running really hot. So you always want to take a really good look at this stuff whenever you have your cowlings off. And if there's any kind of holes you see in here, there's been some repairs where they tried to staple them and jam them back together. But unfortunately, it looks like I have a lot of rivets I got to drill, and we're going to replace it all. Because it's the only way to keep the engine. This is how it was designed. It was designed to be sealed. The silicone stuff is really good. It's much better than the fiberglass stuff they used to use back in the 60s and 70s. But this stuff is really good, but you have to keep it in good condition. And whoever put this one in was just lazy. That's the only reason that this looks like this. These are just poor cuts in here. They didn't take the time to really shape it properly for the corner, and that's why you have this. So technically, usually what I would do, it almost looks like they tried to run it in like one piece, slice it down the middle. What I like to do is I run two pieces and I overlap them, and then I'll rivet them instead of trying to staple and safety wire and glue them. It's just, this is a really piss poor way of doing it. So if I see stuff like that, it's no bueno. And you can see they had it all over the place where this stuff is separated. And back here they have this one tied up in zip ties. So this is just not stuff you want to see. So looks like yet another job to do on this airplane. Before, I can't sell it like this. I would never in good conscience sell an airplane with baffling like this. So we're just gonna replace it. So whoever gets it, some nice new shiny stuff. See, now you know I have to replace it. There's just some leftover vinyl I have, but we're gonna use this to kind of keep some of the metal shavings out of the engine bay here, just by taping a rag over the top of these valve covers. So this is the biggest pain in the ass job. You can ask any A&P mechanic. Drilling rivets effing sucks. This is like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm probably gonna get one of the kids from the local A&P college to come and do the rest of these, because I literally don't want to do this, but I'm doing it so I can show you guys. So let's pick one. We're gonna look for the little dimple in the head of the rivet. We're gonna try to get as centered in there as possible. And we start out nice and slow. And there we go. And you'll hear it when it busts. There it is. We're just about there. There it is. And that rivet, there's the head. Always drill on low speed. There we go. Rivet out. And there's only 100 more to go. So check this out. This video is coming out, today's Thursday, video's coming out Saturday. If any of you are local, Southern California, Orange County, John Wayne Airport, hit me in the comments right now. You want to come over here and drill the rivets out for this thing? Tell me in the comments right here. I'll get a hold of you and I will pay you to come out. If you're not an A&P, I'll sit here and watch you do it so it's supervised. I can give you a little instruction and maybe a little bit of career advice while we're at it. So hit the comment section if you want to come out and drill some rivets, because I don't want to do this. You guys just saw that was one that probably took, what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and there's a whole lot of them and I don't have the time for that. So hit the comments and there you go. We'll leave this as is for now and hopefully one of you guys will come help me. But that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Nice, again, quick maintenance video for you. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram down below. See you guys on the next one.